It's one thing you definitely want to make sure that you're cleaning your gun out good when you're done doing flake. I actually think that I'm going to go get a second gun so I can use one gun for flake and one gun for the for regular paints, just so that I don't contaminate any of my regular paint jobs by having a little flake of metal coming into it that it's not actually a flake job. So now what I'm going to do is, and the what's in the booth here. When I'm done, I'll take my shop vac and a brush, and just go through and brush it real good, so that any airflow or anything that might happen doesn't blow something back and onto my project that I'm working on. But I'm going to put a little bit of drop shadow around the name here. It's a little harder to see once you get the flake on, because the vinyl doesn't stick out as much, but you can still see it. And what I'm going to use is just a cheap Amazon airbrush. I couldn't even a best. I think that's how it is. ABEST. Just a cheap generic, nothing special airbrush. I don't call myself an airbrush artist by any stretch of the imagination, but it works. So I'm just going to put a little bit of black paint into my airbrush. And come on now. Okay, what's we clogged up here? Something's clogged. Check my tip. That's good. Normally I leave a little bit of... my needle seems to be stuck. So I'm going to fix this issue and then we'll be back. Okay, not sure what happened there. It was the needle was stuck. It doesn't normally do that on me, so not sure if I forgot to clean it properly last time I used it or what the deal was. So, but anyway, at any rate, we're going to continue on here. So then basically I just start right over top of my stencil, and I put down some black, and I just go out towards the outside of the stencil. And you just want to draw that in as light or as dark as you want, and as wide as you want. There's really no definite size or width that you need to be. It's just your own personal preference. But if you start, like I say, if you start over top of the stencil and then go outside of it, that helps you out with knowing, where till you get used to where the paint is actually going to spray when you pull it. The closer you are, the finer you're going to be. The further you get back away, the more faded out or wider spray pattern you're going to be. And it's going to be, this is going to look real funky until you actually pull this stencil off. And then you'll say, oh, now it's coming together. But one thing you do have to do is you have to keep your tip right here clean. You'll be able to tell once you do it a little bit. The paint will start splattering on you a little bit, and you just take your finger or take a paper towel and wipe the tip of that needle off, and then you can put your protectant cap back on it. This is a dual action brush, so you press down for air and then you pull back for paint. I used to set this just the same way that I set my other gun, but now I've gotten comfortable enough with it that I can just pull it back with my finger, and I know about where the flow is going to be. Yeah, and they say this is one of the harder ones to do because the stencil is kind of hidden by the flake, but put a little more down here. Let my tip clean off again. All right, I think that's good enough. Like I say, it kind of looks like a hot mess right now, but once you remove the stencil, it'll come right in there. So I'm going to put just a little bit of around this spoiled wife life. Not very much at all. My gun's giving me fits here again. There we go. Oh, I can hear that. You'll be able to tell the sound, like I say, when that tip's getting clogged up. You'll hear it because it's like a spitting sound. Let me grab a towel here. You want to be real careful. You don't want to bend these needles. They are quite sensitive. So when you're wiping them off and stuff, you don't want to bend them. But all right. Let me say, I'm just ever so lightly. I'm basically going just over top of The vinyl itself, not really off to either side. The only thing that's going off to either side is the little bit of overspray. All right, down here. Sorry, I'm concentrating here on what I'm doing, and not talking a whole lot, but just want you guys to see how it's really not that hard. The hardest part is seeing the stencil. All right, a little bit more up in here. And make sure we got all that. Old wife, rockin'. All right, got just a little bit, just a little hint of color outside. So I'm gonna clean my airbrush out here, and then we'll come back for the stencil removal. Okay, so got my gun cleaned out, good to go. I'm gonna start removing the stencils. So I'm still using just a straight pen. I haven't gotten a chance to get the mechanical pencil like I wanted to. But if you take a mechanical pencil, take the lead out of it, cut the end of this straight pen off, and then the needle will go up in there where the lead is. Makes it real easy for getting underneath this and peeling, removing your stencils. But I just go in from the edge. As you can see, that that drop shadow in there starts to really take shape. Alright, T here, and we'll be done with this name. All right, so there we go. And just a little bit of lifting right there. Must have got the clear coat in the glitter just a little bit too heavy. But that's what you always want to be careful for, not only with metal flake and glitter, but with even regular paints. You don't want to get your coats too heavy, because if they start building up on top of your stencil, then when you go to remove your stencil, it's going to start lifting that paint along with it. So you want to be real careful that you're not applying your paints too heavy. Oh crap, no, I didn't. I thought my needle went in too far and scratched that, but it actually didn't. The stencil was cut that way. Like I say, putting this glitter on, or metal flake, really makes removing and doing your stencil shadows and stuff more difficult, but it's worth it in the end for the overall effect. There we go. Come on, get off of there. I might have went just a little heavy in some spots, but I think we'll be just fine. The flake actually starts to bind in, and that's what probably is more so sticking up than what than more so the paint, or the flake is pulling up a little bit, more so than what the actual clear is. That just a little press of the thumb, and pushes that right back down. I hate using my other hand. I'm left-handed, and whenever I have to use my right hand and pick some of this off, it's I'm gonna go clear to this other end. It's just too awkward for me trying to use my right hand. Dot of the eye. Alright, a little tap down. looking good. You don't want to wait too long for removing this, especially with having the flake on it. Ouch, poked myself. R-O-C-K-I-N. And we are just about done. Come on. All right. So, all our stencils are removed. And I'm just going to go over this a little bit with my thumb, just to kind of push down or brush off any of those little pieces that are sticking up over the whole thing. Just to remove anything. It actually not removing much at all. You can see on my hand even there's really not much coming off. So alright, so now this is ready for some clear. So it has been 55 minutes and we have done a cup from pretty much start to almost finish. Another half hour from now this cup will be done and ready to click and drink. So clink and drink. So let me get some clear mixed up and we'll be back to put the clear on. Okay, so it's been about a half hour or so now, and our paint is nice and flashed off, so we can go ahead and put our clear on. I'm going to put my respirator on. Because we are spraying clear. And then basically I'm just going to pour it into my gun, put one light tack coat on, and then we'll let that flash off for 5 to 10 minutes and we'll come back in and put the second one on. So here we go for our first. Alright, go ahead there. Okay, there we go. Again, all the way in. Back in one turn. All the way closed. And then to 7 o'clock. Okay. Alright, here we go. Alright, that's good for our first coat. And I don't know if you can see it or not, I'm sure you can. That is already starting to show that sparkle through. So you can see the difference, just that what that light tack coat did. So we're going to let that flash off for 10 minutes and then we'll come back in and put our final coat on. Okay, we've had enough flash off, so we're going to go ahead and put our last and final coat on this and we'll be ready to go. I'm just finishing off the rest of the cream we have so we're not wasting any. All right, and it is done. Half hour from now, she will be ready. Wow, look at that. Oh, I like it. That one turned out better than the first one I did. I don't think I put enough onto the first one, but I'm liking that one. I bet my wife's gonna be jealous of this one. This one is for one of her friends. So my first one I made like this was for my wife, but I'm thinking I may be having to. my wife's probably gonna be jealous. But there you go, folks. I hope this is able to help somebody. Again, if this would have been with the E word, this cup would have literally taken me days. Here we are, just over an hour, and we are done. Half hour from now, the cup will be ready to start packaging up and ship out the next day. Later.